Anyone council meeting trying to keep a straight face stuff.
Whenever you're ready, Madam Mayor.
Okay. We are now called to order. Roll call, Monica.
Councilman Wickenhagen is not present. Councilwoman Mattson,
Here.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Here.
Councilman Peterson,
Here.
Councilman Bell,
Here.
Councilman Costello,
Here.
Councilman Carlson,
Here. Madam Mayor, I'm making a motion to excuse Councilmember Wickenhagen. I understand he's on vacation.
Yes.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion to excuse Kevin by Russ, a second by Jackie. All those in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? Kevin is excused, enjoying vacation. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Can you hear me over there?
We can. Thank you, Pastor Tom.
Great. Thanks, Mayor. Father, Lord, we just thank you for today. We thank you for your kindness to us. I thank you for these members of the community in which I live, and they live as well, and that they would just be blessed in what they do. I appreciate the time they put, the effort, energies, and the mundane things, and through the drudgery of it all, that you would encourage them, that you would bless them, and that they would do these things well. They would do things as servants to the people, and you'd bless them in it, and they would do so righteously, and they would do so justly for the benefit of the community and the citizens of the community in which we live. So strengthen them, watch over them, give them wisdom in all their decisions. Thank you for their service to us. And we ask these things in Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Data changes, we have none. Public appearances, introductions, and presentations. We have Katrina Hinkle from the Downtown Association.
Good evening. Hi, Madam Mayor. We have just a few things to go over. We are doing the Sip and Stroll June 19th, same day as Hot Rods on First. So it'll be a really big day in Selah. We want to encourage everyone to mark your calendars and stick around and come on down. We feel like we can do this safely and compliantly with COVID restrictions. We're in phase 3. We could even do it in phase 2. So we are ready to proceed with these plans. The Beautification Grant is due April 2nd. So if you know of a business that wants to apply, please make sure that they're getting that in. We don't want anyone to miss the boat or be left out. And cleanup day, we've invited all of you council members, all of City Hall, all of the staff in city, including police and fire, to come on down and join us in the parking lot of the Civic Center on May 15th at 9 a.m. so we can hand out a little honey-do list of stuff we need to work on in Selah. Bring any gardening tools you might have or gloves that you want to use. And it should be just a really good day of getting the city ready for that upcoming Sip and Stroll Day and any other activities we have through the summer, just to welcome guests to come and spend their money in our town. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Katrina, will you say those dates again for the cleanup? What day
Sure.
it is?
Sip and Stroll is June 19th, same day as Hot Rods on 1st.
Mhm.
The Beautification Grant is due April 2nd. And our cleanup day is May 15th. And we will also be changing out the planter boxes on May 15th. So if you want to help, we would be more than happy to have some extra hands.
Okay. Thank you.
Any questions?
Katrina, the Sip and Stroll is after Hot Rods and First. Is that correct? Just to confirm.
Yes. So if Hot Rods and First is ending at 3, we will actually start at 2. So folks that are kind of wandering away from Hot Rods on First can come and join us and probably run it until about 7, 4 to 5 hours. We haven't nailed down the exact times, but we want everybody to be marking their calendars and getting ready. Any other questions? Thanks, guys. Have a great, oh, go ahead, Mike.
You said 9 o'clock to be there at the Civic Center, right?
Yes, please. And we should run it until about 1. You can bring back, we've got a spot, you can dump your garbage. So come on back by about 1 so we can say thanks and take your garbage from you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Katrina. Getting to know our business. Tonight we have best practices healthcare and urgent care, Greg and Janice Swart. Greg or Janice, do we have you on here?
They're here, Madam Mayor. Just 1 second. I'm going to move.
Okay. Okay.
Greg, you should be able to turn on your camera and audio now.
Hi there. I'm Janice Swart, and this is my husband, Greg. I was born and raised here in Selah, have quite a passion for Selah and the community. My dad ran the Weenass feed store here in Selah for 35 years, and my husband and I just joined some friends and opened up Best Practices Medical Clinic here in Selah. We have a full care family practice. We have behavioral health, and urgent care just opened up, and urgent care is 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays, excuse me, 9:30 to 5:30. And we're just really working on trying to get them out and let people know that we're here, and we appreciate the opportunity to share this with you guys tonight.
Thanks for letting us be here.
Are things picking up for you out there?
They're picking up, words getting out. I printed off some more flyers I'm going to bring down and see if I can pass around.
Okay.
We'd be happy to answer any questions. We'd happy to give people tours. We really want to share our heart for caring for Selah, and
we're in the old Astria building right next to Tractor Supply.
Okay. Hey, Don, did you have a question?
Yes, I did. They stole a little bit of my thunder. I wanted to ask them where they were located. And the other is, which insurances do you take? Do you take people, do you take Medicare, TRICARE, things like that? Could you address that a little bit?
Yes, we take all commercial insurances. We also take all Medicaid right now. We're in the process of credentialing everybody. It's quite a long process, but we will be taking all Medicaid, coordinated care, Molina, and CHPW. We also take Medicare and then MedAdvantage programs, as well as all major commercial, including the 3 Premier Regents and Kaiser, and then smaller insurance companies, Cigna, Aetna, United Healthcare, et cetera. And we try to just be open, as open and as well as TRICARE as well, yeah, to all insurance companies, also because we are an urgent care. And so we want to be able to provide access for everybody. So, yeah, and cash too on a discount, a 20% cash discount. And again, we have X-ray and ultrasound. We can do splinting, casting, suturing. It's almost it's more than a walk-in. It's almost like I should say an urgent care plus, if you will, because we have those extra services. So it's really nice. And we're really feel blessed to be able to provide these services to Selah in the greater area. So people don't have to head out of Selah for a sniffle or a stitch. And so we're just trying to get that word out best we can. We got flyers. We've been doing advertising on television, as well as in the Sinu Selah paper. Adam's been wonderful and given us some wonderful props, and then the Herald just did a nice article as well. So just getting that word out and let everybody know we're here and ready to care for you guys.
Great, thank you.
You bet.
Thanks.
Thank you.
With sports picking up, you could be getting busy.
Yes, exactly.
All right, well, keep getting the
Thank
word
you.
out.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. We appreciate
Thank
you
you.
all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Sherry.
Thanks, Sherry.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Communications. Oral, Rob?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We are presently conducting the regular meeting portion of today's session. State law does not require a non-charter code city such as the city of Selah to allot time for public comment during a regular meeting between the mayor and city council. Historically, the city has chosen to allot time for public comment during its regular meetings, subject to a maximum of 2 minutes per commenter and common sense standards of decorum. Recently, those standards of decorum have been increasingly infringed. Those wishing to offer public comments during a regular meeting must comply with the following process and standards. Each commenter must state his or her full name and whether he or she is a registered voter residing within the city limits of Selah. Each commenter is limited to 1 comment and a maximum duration of 2 minutes per regular meeting. A maximum of 30 minutes per regular meeting will be allotted for all public comments. Comments must be constructive and respectful. No profanity, insults, defamation, or direct or implied personal attacks will be allowed. Criticism of city policy is allowed, but personal criticism of any individual is not allowed. The public comment process is not a question and answer process. Also, each commenter should speak solely for himself or herself rather than purporting to speak on behalf of others, repeating verbatim or nearly verbatim what another commenter has said, or repeating what a written document says. In-person comments will be heard from the podium in the order offered by commenters, and during the COVID shutdown, written comments will be read aloud in the order received by city staff, and telephonic comments may also be heard. The mayor may cut off any in-person or telephonic comment that he or she deems inappropriate, and city staff at the direction of the mayor may disallow or modify any written comment that is deemed inappropriate. These standards are subject to revision. Those who infringe the applicable standards may be barred from offering public comments during future regular meetings. Public comment during regular meetings is not the exclusive method to communicate with the mayor or city council on any topic. People may send emails or letters, leave voicemails, or request in-person meetings to or with the mayor or any member or members of the city council. The mayor and each member of the city council has personal discretion over how and when he or she might respond to emails, letters, voicemails, and requests for in-person meetings.
Thank you, Rob. Monica?
Madam Mayor, there were no comments submitted.
All right, thank you. Written, this is in your packet. Proclamations and announcements, we have none. Consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine by the city council and will be enacted with one motion without discussion. Should any council member request that any item on the consent agenda be considered separately, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and become part of the regular agenda.
I move that we accept the consent agenda as.
Second.
I second that.
I have a motion to approve the consent agenda by Cliff, a second by Jackie. All those in favor? Opposed? Monica, please read the consent agenda.
Approval of minutes, February 23, 2021 council meeting. I'm sorry, I have that wrong. I apologize. I was looking at another sheet of paper. Approval of minutes, March 9, 2021 council meeting, and approval of claims and payroll.
Thank you. Public hearings, we have none. General business, under new business, we have none, and old business, we have none. Resolutions, Mr. Wayman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This resolution N1 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign an amendment to the Selah Parks and Recreation interlocal agreement between the city of Selah and Yakima County. It was brought to the attention of the city by members of the Selah Parks and Recreation Service Area Board that they were having problems filling all of their seats on their board, and that's process for who appoints and how they're appointed was part of the interlocal agreement that was subsequent to the creation of the Selah Parks and Recreation Service Area Board. So we took a look at it and consulted with the county commissioner, specifically Amanda McKinney. We sat down with her, talked about a way to get to where we are that you've reviewed already. And we consulted with the school district as well, got some input from them, and came up with this solution in order to more efficiently and adequately fill the seats on the board. What I'd like to do before I go to questions is let the person who's most familiar with this situation on the council talk to it a little bit. Roger, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure. As we've proceeded now, this process has gone on for over a year, and due to various reasons, primarily COVID, we started out with prior commissioner Vicki Baker, went through, and we were not able to get that resolved, but we're now at a point on the SPRSA board that we really need to fill the positions that are open, because several reasons are really pushing right now. One, it's uncomfortable to be making taxing decisions when we're talking about a potential levy coming up this year with only a partial board. And the most pressing issue is our insurance underwriter is extremely concerned that we don't have a full board. So with those issues coming up right now, where our insurance is due in April, and we need to make sure that we take care of that with the resolution where we can proceed ahead and have a path cleared to fill all 7 positions on the board, whereas currently we only have 4.
If I could add just a couple of facts. In the previous agreement, with regard to the city specifically, we had 2 council members as part of the Selah Parks and Recreation Service Area Board. And that has presented problems in the past and may in the future, in that those particular board members would be required to recuse themselves from one vote or another if it affected city business. So we saw the inefficiencies in that, and I believe there's universal agreement that we really need to go away from council members serving on that particular board, that taxing district. I think that was a flaw in the original agreement. I don't think anyone really anticipated that as being an issue. The other is that because they were council members, and I'm making a presumption, but it appears that when the original agreement was made, the council was charged with filling those positions. And I think that's because council members were on it. In concert with the other boards or commissions like the Planning Commission, we changed that to have the appointing authority to the mayor and not the council. So that I believe that keeps us consistent with other major boards within the city. In a strong mayor form of government, this is consistent. So that's all I have, unless anybody has any questions.
Roger?
Madam Mayor, I move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Roger. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Cliff. Roll call, Monica?
Madam Mayor, you have a couple of council members with hands raised.
Oh, your hands are yellow tonight. Okay, Russ.
Madam Mayor, appreciate it. My first question on the four positions being filled by the Yakima County. It says positions 4, 5, 6, and 7. It says for Yakima County and or service area residents. So one of my concerns, and I think I have an idea why this was presented this way, but this as written shows that somebody technically speaking in Sunnyside or Granger or Zillah could serve on our taxing board here in Selah. I realize it's a technicality, but that's how it reads.
And that's exactly how it reads, Russ. I think an answer to that is in our discussions with the county, and this is the county request. This isn't the city of Selah coming up with this, but I think that what they want is the most flexibility they can have to get people who are, one, interested, and two, with a background that would serve to better, more effectively help the area to get things done that they need to do. So I think what we're doing is what they want is more flexibility to get people that they want on that board to be effective. I don't want to presume to tell Amanda McKinney or any of the other commissioners who we didn't fight on that ground at all. We agreed with them. Where our interest is getting this board filled with interested and active members.
Russ, I might add that the original agreement called for a county commissioner to sit on that or designate. And of course, the county commissioners in most instances over the past, as far as I can remember, have not been residents of this area anyway.
No, and that was my guess, was that they were trying to indicate and it makes sense, right, that a county commissioner could sit on the board. But I would, my recommendation would keep that language, a county commissioner or designee within the service area. I have concerns about somebody outside of our voting district, except for a county commissioner or somebody who's already elected, voting for tax increases or voting against tax increases, frankly, for the city of Selah, where they don't pay taxes.
In our negotiations, the commissioners weren't interested in sitting on the board. Let's make that clear. So, and what they were seeking was more flexibility.
Roger?
I would add also that the positions on the SPRSA board, no matter who you are sitting on that, you don't actually vote on a tax anyway. You're just voting on whether or not to present a tax to the citizens to vote on. So it's not really an issue direct that they would be directing that a tax be levied. You can't do that in that position. It still comes to a vote of only those within the taxing district.
Okay, thank you, Roger.
And-
Suzanne, Russ, let Suzanne talk.
My question was answered.
Okay. Cliff?
My question was that in the original language, it has a paragraph about 2-year term and rotation of the term. In the revised language, that paragraph is not there. Is that because we're doing away with the 2-year term and being indefinite? Or does that because that portion wasn't changed? The way that it is written, it looks like it is no longer a set 2-year term.
Clifford, the 2-year term does remain.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank
Do you
you.
see that, Cliff?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Russ, did you have something else? Okay.
Yeah, I go back to my initial point that I think anybody making recommendations, anybody contributing to a potential tax increase or blockage of a tax increase or for our area should have skin in the game. And if we're allowing anybody outside of the voting district to be part of the board, that's not logical to me. Granted, they can be brought in as advisors, they can be brought in as consulting groups, but I'm not comfortable with providing a voting voice on this board to somebody not in the voting district.
Okay. Jackie?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can I direct a question to Roger?
Yes.
Roger, would there be any circumstances at all where there would be a case where there would be decisions made for tax dollars to be spent by people outside of our voting area?
Well, of course, once a tax is approved, whether that's in a levy or a bond issue, then the board directs how that's spent within, like any other board. Of course, you have pretty tight control on what you can do. We're limited taxing authority. We can only pass or propose bond issues for construction of facilities within the taxing area, or we can propose levies that are for operation and maintenance only. So those are the only things you can spend the money on. You couldn't decide to spend money on Natchez' swimming pool or Yakima's or anyone else's. It must be spent within the taxing authority's purview. And the state constitution that granted a limited body to serve as Bursa Board, which is actually falls under a parks name from the RCW, limits what you can do. It's very specific on what exactly you can and can't do with money, and what your authority is beyond that. There is none. It's only to consider the items that are before that particular body.
Does that answer your question, Jackie?
Pretty much. I admit I have the same concern as Russ. I'm not sure why we would be having 4 positions appointed by the county, especially if they're not going to be from our taxing district.
I think there may be a misunderstanding here. The county had, in our discussions with the county, and I'm in an awkward position of arguing or advocating for a county position. But remember, these 4 votes belong to them. Okay, we don't have a veto on the 4 votes. That's as far as we certainly have the wherewithal to renegotiate this agreement, but they're looking for flexibility. They're not looking to go out of the area, find people that are unfamiliar with the situation. That was never the intent. The intent was, hey, if we got one position that we can't get in, or maybe there's a person with special fundraising skill sets, or a person who's connected politically, who can bring votes for a particular issue, who's maybe an expert in the operations of a municipal pool. I think that's what's in their mind, not how many people we can bring from outside of the area and alter the situation in Selah. That's not even close to their calculation here. I think they're looking to provide the best people available for those 4 positions that belong to them. So for us to go back and tell them, no, you can't do that. Well, it puts us in a strange position of telling them who and how they're going to pick people that are going to represent the county. So with that, unless anybody has any other questions, Madam Mayor, I believe we have a motion and a second.
We had a question also from Mike Costello and then a question from myself.
Mike?
Yeah, my question was the reasoning behind this, because like Russ stated, I also feel uncomfortable with that. And I know that it's something that the county has control over, but was that changed because of lack of interest inside the district, or was that, or why did they change the wording of that?
Don, you talked to Amanda. Do you know why they changed that wording?
This wasn't a major point of discussion for them. I don't think that there's an intent to go out of the area, but I believe that they want to reserve the capacity to do so if and when it comes up that they need to fill a position with a capable person, somebody that's been screened and capable of being value added to the area. Once again, I'm trying to channel what the county wants here. And I find it strange that this council is questioning what the county wants with 4 votes that they control anyway. I don't know how we would veto their wants or needs on this. We could certainly go back and say, hey, would you like to change this to inside the service area? And it just delays the vote on this for another month or so. This is really not a city issue. I don't think that it's going to affect the operations of Bursa in any way, shape, or form. I believe this is a very minor issue that really is a county issue, and I don't think it's going to bring grave consequences. In fact, it's an opportunity for Selah have duty experts come in and maybe help out. But I don't know that that's their intent. I'm presuming something that I don't know for sure.
Roger?
Yes, I would add to that right now, there's really only one open position that the county would be appointing, because 3 positions are currently filled by school, and they would be carryovers onto that board. And they all wish to continue to serve. That's Kellyanne Urgensen, Heidi Herzog, and Dr. Dave Lemon. The city would be adding 2, because currently I'm the only one that's appointed by the city on the board. So we'd be moving forward that way. So, you know, I have talked also with both Vicki Baker and Amanda McKinney, and they did express concerns of being able to fill if the school district was saying they were having some issues in doing that. But you know, and I told in conversation with Vicki Baker several months ago, last summer, I believe, that you know, it wasn't the same kind of issue. The problem with the school district was that the way the agreement was written was they were required to have 2 school board members on it. And when there were 4 to 5, they felt it was not appropriate to be required to have 2 people on there, and that they have no direct connection with the pool other than occasional use of the pool. So they had really requested to have it rewritten, and the real intent was for 4 people to be on the county appointment because they represent a slightly larger portion than what the city limits does population-wise for use of the pool. So,
yeah, there. In fact, Roger, there's a significant population difference within the area as well as the city.
Thank you. Okay, so I still see some hands up. Cliff, is your hand still up?
Yes, I have a thought. From what Roger says, that my understanding that the SPRSA board is a administrative board, that it it doesn't go out and tax people. It may recommend and put ballot issues on the ballot, but it is the people in the board, if I understand it correctly, is just the administrative board of it. At this point in time, the swimming pool is the only thing that SPRSA does, but doesn't SPRSA, it's a service area, isn't there potential in the area that in the future that there could be other facilities or activities that SPRSA oversees? But even then, it is an administrative board. The county deals with more tax districts and sub-districts than we do. And I think that the commissioners are well aware that whenever possible, and I don't know of any exception, that it is members within, citizens within those service districts that are appointed to the board. And so I understand those of you that have the concerns about the and/or, but I think that we have to have some kind of trust and confidence in our fellow elected officials to do the best that they can to follow the intent. And I think that's all I have, unless Roger has some kind of follow-up if I misunderstand the role of the SPRSA board.
Roger?
I would impartial answer to part of that, Cliff. Say that the name SPRSA is Selah Park, and the reason that's in there, it's a singular, not dual, so they wouldn't take on any other parks. But the reason it's in there is because the RCW that grants that taxing authority grants control to the county anyway. They hold all of our funds. SPRSA doesn't hold the money. It's all held by the county, and by board vote, we authorize the county to pay bills, but only if they're in that, and they monitor that. We're subject to audit. We've gone through 2 audits in the last 3 years on the SPRSA board. You know, there's adequate control that you're spending money the way it's intended and the way the law requires. You know, they made a few corrections for some things that we've done, just as the auditors make recommendations to the city when they audit the city or any other government agency to go through that. So it's already under control of the county in essence for holding that money, investing that money, and paying the bills.
In a way, Cliff, the Selah Park and Recreation Service Area is a quasi-municipal organization. And what it is a taxing district. They can raise taxes with the approval of a vote. And their job is to administer the spending of those monies, and as well as set policy for the in this case the swimming pool. So those are the 2 tasks that they have: is setting policy and budget priorities within the scope of what they're allowed by the voters. And what we're talking about here is really what the county wants here. The county wants more span of control. I don't see it as being an unreasonable request to be able to or to have more flexibility to appoint individuals that bring capability to help the pool. But if you want me to go back and tell them that they need to change that, we'll see how that goes.
Okay, Jackie, you have your hand up? No? Okay, Russ?
I think this is getting away from us a little bit. I don't have any lack of trust. I think this is a change that needs to take place, especially seeing the challenges that the city and the school district have on placing people in here. I think, and I can't imagine the county commissioners would have an issue with this. They are welcome to bring in anybody they want to make recommendations to help participate in this board, but as a consultant, as an assistant, as whatever, however you want to term it. But in my opinion, our veto power and who they put on there, it happens right now. And if we let them put anybody throughout the county, I don't think that's fair to the citizens of Selah to have a someone making a recommendation who doesn't have a skin in the game. So I would be okay with this change as long as it makes that adjustment for keeping the county recommendations within the taxing district, or even the county commissioners if they choose.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve and a second on the table. Roger?
Yes, I'd just ask one more comment here that we're at a critical time for the board right now, and I understand what's been voiced here. But I would hate to see us delay this longer and have to go out as a board for a different insurance carrier if that were the case. And there's no guarantee that another insurance carrier would. And in fact, if we did not have insurance, some of that liability would come back to the city anyway, and not on the Spursa board under their insurance policy. So when I sit on the city side of that and not the Spursa side, I say it's extremely important that we do maintain that to go forward. So that's the issue pushing us right now. This has been vetted and agreed with the county's attorney that it's what the county commissioners desire on it. So that's where we're at.
Thank you. Cliff?
Is it an oversimplification to say that with Spursa being a sub-district, whatever the official classification is of the county, that this is essentially a county board and the interlocal agreement allows the city to have 3 people?
Cliff, I know you were probably part of this in the beginning, and you're absolutely right. And your original point, I think, from an earlier comment with the idea that this might one day take over more duties, that is a correct, based on my understanding of the history of this, of the early discussions, that it might matriculate into some bigger organization, taking over more parks within the city of Selah. But yeah, you're right.
Thank you, Cliff. Russ, your hand is still up. Do you have another question?
No, I just left it up. Sorry.
Okay. So Monica, can you remind me who we have the motions by?
Certainly. Give me just a second to scroll up here.
Or somebody raise their hand.
Councilmember Bell moved and Councilmember Peterson seconded to approve the resolution authorizing the mayor to sign an amendment to the Selah Park and Recreation Interlocal Agreement between the City of Selah and Yakima County.
Okay. So we have a motion to approve. We have a second. Monica, can you do roll call?
Councilwoman Mattson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas?
Yes.
Councilman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Bell?
Yes.
Councilman Costello?
Yes.
Councilman Carlson?
No.
5-1 in favor, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Ordinances, we have none. Public appearances, we have none. Reports and announcements. From the departments, Chief Chrisman.
Hi, everybody. We've been working on personnel heavily, and I'm happy to report to you tonight that we have 2 new officers that are coming on board soon. Their tentative start date is May 1st, and they are entry-level positions. So that means we'll have to send them over to Seattle to the academy. They'll be there for 4 months, and then they'll come back to us and start a field training process One of them is a reserve officer for the city of Selah. And so we're happy to just transition him into a full-time position here. We know him, we know his work ethic, and we think he's going to be a solid fit. The other person is currently working at the Yakima Police Department jail. And he also, I think, is going to be a very solid fit here. Both of them have given us a good, solid commitment to the city. And then we are finishing up some testing this week on a lateral officer, and we will be working with Monica to get a civil service meeting and get that list certified and then get that person back into service here at Selah PD. Still doing some research on facilities, and met with Roger last week, and we'll continue to work on that project as far as a new police department, and looking for any input that you might have for us as we move forward. I'm happy to entertain any questions. Thanks.
Like you're off the hook. Thanks, Chief. I know that fire got called out. Do we have Chief Hannah on here?
He's here, Madam Mayor. Go ahead, Chief. Just one sec, he's on the phone.
Okay.
Chief Hannah, are you there, sir?
He's muted, Teresa.
I know it.
How's that? Can you hear me now?
Yep,
Yes?
we can. Go ahead, Gary.
Okay. I've just got a minute. Sorry if you can't hear me very well. We are out on a house fire. So, but this is my last official meeting as fire chief for the to attend council. So I just want to thank everybody for entrusting me with the job of running the fire department for the last 7 years and throughout my career. So it's been a pleasure, and I just wanted to pass it on and let everybody know I appreciate it.
Well, Gary, we all appreciate you, and we appreciate the good hands that you have left us in. You have brought Jim up under your wings, and you're leaving us in a good place.
Well, I feel confident of that, and thank you.
Yeah. All right. Get back to fighting fires.
Well, I'm not working too hard. Last thing I want to do is get hurt my last week.
Gary, Chief
All right,
Hannah,
thank you.
Which day is the parade by your house?
I don't know. I think I'm gone that day.
Thank you, Gary.
All right, thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Okay. Council members, Roger.
Yes, and I would echo about having sat on the fire commissioners board as a city rep for several years now. That the commissioners have also taken a strong position in supporting Gary and training and everything for Jim to come up and take over. So they've been working on this as long as I've been on that board, as far as doing the orderly transfer of leadership at the fire department. So they're in good hands, and these folks are on the commissioners who are all firefighters, by the way, too, that have had a career in firefighting, either within our own department or other agencies, like Rex is from the wildlands. So, they're have done a good job to transition that. The only report I had then was to say thank you for passing. We can move forward with the SPRSA board now, and have good, strong representation as far as representing our community. That's all.
Thank you, Roger. Suzanne?
I have no report.
Thank you. Mike?
Nothing to report, but congratulations to Chief Hannah.
Thank you. Jackie?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Also want to pass on my congratulations and thank you to Chief Hannah for all his years of service for our city. Roger, thank you so much for answering the questions that we had tonight. Very much appreciate you taking the time to explain that clearly. I attended the WYCOG meeting last week, and there was a presentation by Cliff Hall, who's the WSDOT regional coordinator, and he was explaining the purpose and the functions of MPOs and RTPOs, which are Metropolitan Transportation Planning Organizations and Regional Transportation Planning Organizations. He gave a very good talk. I never really knew much about any of this, and he gave some very good information. Also attended the Selah Downtown Association meeting, and a few things I'll point out, just echoing Katrina's information that she gave earlier about the sip and stroll. And then the Wine, Dine, and Beyond is slated for well, later on in the year, hopefully. We do have a committee that's just met last week for the first time, and there was just a couple of us there, so we'll meet again. There was also an update from Chris Scacco. The intermediate school students made cards for Selah Chambers. There was about 20 cards that they made for the chamber. Also, they, as everybody knows, they're going out to for the levy for the vote again. And then K through third grade are back full-time after spring break. So that's my report, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie.
The Wine, Dine, and Beyond, Jackie, is October 15th.
Okay, you're right. I had it for the meeting date was the 17th. So thank you very much, Roger.
Russ?
I'd like to echo what's been said about Chief Hannah. We appreciate his time and service, and he'll be missed. And we're grateful that Jim's ready to take it over. We met for the LTAC meeting yesterday, and we had one application come in, made a recommendation for the Selah Little League. They requested quite a bit of money. We chopped it almost in half, but we made a recommendation for some to support just the material purchase of some pads for the batting cages. They're having the All-Star tournament. They're going to be here in town, and it will bring several hundred people here to the community. And so we made a recommendation for $15,000 plus for that. All of the labor will be done by them, and they are also taking a large portion of expenses up on themselves. And so we made a recommendation for that. So you'll see that after we pass the minutes at our next meeting. So probably the first meeting in May. That's all I have.
Thanks, Russ. Cliff?
I'd like to join everybody else thanking Chief Hannah. I'd also like to thank Roger for all of the time, and I know many hours on the SPRSA board, and I'm sure that was a relief for him to see us pass that through. The only thing I really have to report is the school board is going to meet this Thursday at 4:30. Skimming through the agenda, I think the big news is that they're going to do it in person. It's going to be at 4:30 in the Lentz gym, and it will also be streamed on their school district YouTube channel like it has been going on, but they're going to try and do it in person. That's all I have.
Thank you, Cliff. Mr. Case.
I have no public report.
Thank you. Mr. Wayman.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I have a few things here. The West Goodlander Cell Tower contract, I know I've mentioned it before. I think we finished up our discussions on that with the organization that's making an offer on that. We should be bringing something to you for your consideration during our first meeting in April. I am researching medical insurance alternatives for the city of Selah for our employees. As we do this pretty much every year, and getting into that, I have a couple of inquiries out, and we're always looking for a better deal on that. The sidewalk and street crack seal project, you're going to be seeing something coming down on that. That's in addition and above and beyond the budget request that we discussed back in November. And we're hoping to move about $250,000 into projects to improve and repair sidewalks and do some crack sealing on our sidewalks and in our streets. A new sign ordinance is being worked on. The city attorney and the community development director, Jeff Peters, have been working hard on a new sign ordinance, working with the planning commission right now. It's working its way through. And you should be seeing something on that, I would say in June. Is that a correct assumption, Rob?
It'll hopefully be a little bit earlier than that, but it still remains to be seen sometime in the next month or two.
Okay, thank you. We're also looking and having some folks come in and do some survey for us at City Hall, at the Civic Center. They've already done the police station and Public Works. We're looking to get a new phone system put in. Our current phone system is very old and very antiquated, and we're getting a full survey along with estimates on what it would cost to revamp our phone system to include new phones, new equipment, and maybe some new wiring as well. We are working on a radio repeater at Lookout Point. I might have mentioned this before. I've pulsed Zach Shab, who is my interface for emergency operations, to get that estimate together on what it would cost to install, as well as buy the equipment to get it installed. And I hope to have that to you in the next month. We are also working on a GYGSA contract review with the GYGSA. There's a number of things that we need to update. Our contract is required to be updated, and we'll be bringing that to you within the next month as well. And finally, and not last but not least, we expect to have the city attorney on board full-time on 1 April. Any questions? That's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Looks like there's no questions. You're off the hook too. I just want to remind council that in your mailbox here at City Hall are the Jurassic Parliament books for our session that we're going to have with Ann McFarland. So come by and get your books, get familiar with them before we have that session. And also back to the SPRSA board. As with every board there is out there, it's hard getting people to step forward. If you know of somebody who might be interested in that, would you please send them my way? I put out some feelers and I'm not having any luck. So if you know somebody who's interested and qualified for that, would you please talk to them and get them in touch with me? That would be great. Just thank you for Roger for covering for me the last meeting that we had. Thank you for the paydays you left on my desk. And everybody have a great evening. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, Madam Mayor.
We have a second. We have a motion to adjourn by Jackie, a second by Mike. All those in favor, raise your hand. And we have all hands raised. We are now adjourned. Thank you.